Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into a really wild concept, which is the surprising reason why talking about our absolute biggest goals might actually be the exact thing destroying them. Now, we've all been taught that sharing our goals creates accountability, right? But what if the exact opposite is true? What if speaking your dreams out loud is actually the silent killer of your motivation? Let's get into it. I want you to be totally honest with yourself for a second. Have you ever announced a massive plan, maybe it's a new business, a new fitness routine, or a creative project, only to instantly lose all your motivation to actually do it? You've probably noticed what happens next. You get this huge rush of excitement the moment you say it out loud, but when it's time to sit down and do the grueling work, poof, that energy is just completely gone.
Well, there's a name for this. We're calling it the oversharing trap. It's this incredibly common phenomenon where prematurely speaking about your goals literally makes them harder to reach, trapping you in a frustrating cycle of starting and stopping. To really wrap our heads around this psychological trap, we're going to look at the story of a young guy named Simon. He lived in a small village, he had incredibly big dreams, but his approach to achieving them was fundamentally broken in a way that, frankly, is super common for a lot of us.
So Simon had this very strange, almost funny habit. Every single week, he would excitedly announce a brand new, massive project. Week 1, he was going to open a shop. Week 2, he's going to be a master at pottery. Week 3, he's building a house from scratch. But before he even lifted a finger to begin, he'd parade through the market and shout his plans for absolutely everyone to hear. He'd proclaim, "I will open the biggest shop in this village."
But here's where it gets interesting, because he was caught in a very specific cycle of failure. He shouts his plans, and the villagers, well, they clap, they smile, they offer him all these kind, encouraging words. And because of that immediate praise, Simon instantly feels proud and important. He sleeps great that night. But the crucial part, the really devastating part, is what happens the next morning. He wakes up when it's actually time to do the work, and he just feels tired. All that fiery energy is completely gone. So he abandons the goal entirely. Give it a few days, and he repeats the exact same cycle with a brand new dream.
Now, this pattern didn't just happen once or twice, it continued for years. Simon announced every single dream under the sun, and the village always celebrated his words. But at the end of the day, his hands stayed completely empty. Nothing in his life actually changed. Deep inside, it really took a toll on him. His heart grew heavy, and he felt entirely stuck in this endless loop of empty promises.
Section 1, The Seed and the Rock. A lesson from the village elder.
So, one evening, a quiet, humble, and highly respected village elder finds Simon sitting all alone near an old well, looking just deeply troubled. After Simon confesses his habit of constantly sharing his ideas just to make people proud of him, the elder invites him over to his garden for this brilliant little experiment. The next day, the elder brings out 2 seeds. Step 1, he hands the first seed to Simon and tells him to plant it deep in the ground, totally covered by the dark soil. Then for step 2, instead of planting the second seed, the elder holds it up high in the air. He calls over some kids playing nearby and starts showing it off, bragging about how it's going to become this beautiful, magnificent tree. The kids clap and cheer. Finally, step 3, the elder places that highly praised seed entirely exposed on a flat rock and just leaves it there.
Over the next few weeks, the results were undeniable. That buried seed, the one placed in darkness and silence, quietly watered by the elder without a single word to anyone, it slowly sprouted a tiny green shoot and grew into a really strong plant. But the displayed seed, the one left out in the open sunlight and the noise of the world, just dried right up. Birds came down and picked it apart. It never grew at all. The elder looks at Simon and tells him, a seed needs silence to grow. It needs darkness. It needs to stay hidden under the earth.
Section 2, The Illusion of Success. Why praise tricks the mind.
Seeing that strong plant next to that empty rock, something finally clicks inside Simon. The elder is using this powerful metaphor to expose the exact psychological mechanism behind why Simon keeps failing. And it's all about how our human brains process premature praise. See, when you share your dreams too early, you feel proud immediately. You feel as if you've already done the hard work. All that clapping and praise provides this unearned pleasure, and your mind literally gets tricked into feeling like the goal is already achieved. And because you just got that early, massive hit of satisfaction, your heart totally loses the fire and the drive you actually need to keep going. And then, the elder delivers this absolute mic drop moment. He tells Simon, The energy you need for action gets wasted in words. Just take a second to really absorb that. It's powerful, right? Simon felt his face grow warm because he realized he'd been doing exactly this his whole life. Every time he announced a plan, he felt successful, but he never actually did the work. The applause was enough. In his mind, he never needed to finish anything because he already felt finished. Section 3. The power of silence. Putting the lesson into practice. Armed with this completely life-changing realization that dreams are incredibly fragile at the beginning and desperately need protection in the dark soil of effort, Simon walks home that night and decides to put the power of silence to the test. His new approach is completely different. Step 1, he doesn't announce a grand shop or a whole house. Actually, scratch that. He doesn't announce anything at all. He just chooses a single, simple goal: build a wooden chair. And he tells absolutely no one. Step 2, every single evening he just retreats to a quiet corner and works with wood. There's no audience, there's no applause, and because of that, there's absolutely zero external pressure or expectations. Step 3, he makes mistakes, he fixes them, and he learns slowly. Some days he's exhausted, some days he's energized, but he just keeps his hands on the wood. Days slowly turn into weeks, and finally, the chair is done. It's strong, it's smooth, it's finished, and when Simon finally sat on that chair, he experienced a profound, fundamental shift. Think about it. For years, he had survived on empty pride. Pride that came purely from words, premature announcements, and the cheap applause of others before he'd accomplished a single thing. But sitting right there in the quiet, he felt real pride. This was a deep, unshakable pride derived from silent action, actual building, and the quiet, hard-earned satisfaction of finishing something real. And the result of this quiet action triggered a massive snowball effect. One morning, his neighbor happens to see the chair and is just stunned because Simon had never told a soul he was building it. Word started to spread, but by the time anyone was talking about it, Simon was already working on his next project in total silence. He completed the chair, then he built a small table, then he finished a shelf, and then a stool. As the years went by, Simon completely transformed his life, becoming a highly respected craftsman in the village. People respected him deeply now because his actions finally spoke way louder than his words. He just didn't need that rush of empty pride anymore. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to turn this directly back to you. Ask yourself, how many dreams have you shared just a little too early, only to watch them fade away into nothing? When you speak about your big plans, are you giving away your power? Are you letting the reactions and the applause of other people completely replace your own silent effort? The reality is, the world doesn't need to know what you are building. It only needs to see what you have built. So the very next time you feel that sudden, burning urge to announce a big idea to everyone, pause, stay quiet, protect your dream, let the seed grow in the darkness, and simply let your work speak for itself when it's finally ready. Will you be brave enough to stay silent?